In this video, I'm going to walk you through our latest limited edition kit, Night Fishing. So this is the design you're going to be creating. When you receive your kit, it will look a little something like this. So let's open it up and I'll show you what's inside. So on the top, you'll have your little certificate, and this authenticity certificate shows you what number in the collection yours is. Now, there's only ever a fixed number produced. Then you'll have your limited edition collector's gallery with a sticker, which is where you can document which limited editions you've done. And when you've done quite a few, it ends up looking a little something like this. You'll see all your different limited editions collected over time. So this one is the 4th ever limited edition, so this is Night Fishing. Now let's open up the kit and show you all the contents you're going to have in. Now if you've signed up and you're a studio member, so you've got a refill kit, yours won't come in this box and you won't have a hoop, but you'll have all the other elements you need. So you've got 2 different instruction booklets there. You've got your fabric that's been screen printed with the design. You've got your threads all numbered on bobbins in this bobbin box. You've got a tote bag, so you can easily take your kit on the go with you, take everything out of the box, put it in the bag, and then you can go on the go. And then in the bottom of the box, you have an embroidery hoop, and this is the hoop you'll use to stitch the design, along with a guide on how to use the hoop in case you haven't used one before. Now you've got 2 instruction booklets. The first one is a stitch guide that tells you loads of different stitches and different instructions. Most of these are used in the kit, but not all of them are used in the kit. So you'll use this to refer to in case you don't know how to do a certain stitch. Then you have your main stitch plan. Now on the reverse side of this, you've got a really high-res picture of the finished design. So you can see exactly what it's going to look like when you finish. And you can refer to this to kind of understand things like stitch directions, aspects like that. Then on the opposite side, you've got a detailed plan telling you what stitch to do where in what colour. So you see across the plan, every single bit is marked up. And then you've got down the left-hand side a numbered colour guide. So we say, what are the different numbers you're using in the design? And those numbers then all match up to the numbers which are on your bobbins of thread. So for example, you can see we've got number 1 purple here, 2 this beige colour, 3 a lilac, and on it goes. So all your colours match up to those. So let me show you some of the key parts of the plan. The key thing to bear in mind is this is a limited edition kit, which means it's an advanced kit. These are challenging designs that are going to take you a long time, and every single element will test your stitching ability and will test how your different stitches are used. So please do bear in mind that this is not a beginner's kit, as you should know already, and you're going to find this a nice, wonderful challenge. So what I'm going to do is talk you through some of the key areas in the stitch plan and how you do it. First things, just bear in mind throughout this entire design, you're going to stitch everything with 3 strands of thread. So let's take this bottom section here, our bottom border, and the fish that we've got on top. So here it will say the fish are stitched in chain stitch using colours 3, 4 and 5. So you know you're using a 3-stranded chain stitch. Go into your bobbin box and find colours 3, 4 and 5. And you'll know that you're going to use a chain stitch for those fish. Likewise, the one on the right hand side is also in chain stitch, but we're using colours 1, 3 and 4. And as you look at these, on the first fish, you'll see that number 5 is just used for the eye, whereas on fish on the right hand side, you've got your 1, 3 and 4 are used throughout. Now, on the reverse side, you see the high-res photo, so you can see how the chain stitch is done. And this is where you can refer when you're trying to work out your stitch direction. Go take a look at that picture. I'll show you it on the real piece here, so you can see. you see the direction of my chain stitch. It really doesn't matter if you do the same direction as me though. You can use a variety of directions if you want. So there's various different stitches used in different areas. So let's just take a look again so you can get a feel for the stitch plan, how it works with the trees. So the left-hand tree, you'll see it says at the top, is stitched in darning stitch. And it says in the plan, for that bit, we're going to use colours 3 and 4 on our vertical lines and 5 and 7 on the horizontal lines. Now there is a separate video on our channel showing you all of these different stitches. So whether it's darning stitch, trellis work, anything, head to the video on the channel which shows you how to do that stitch. It's also written in that stitch guide. But for example here, along the outer border, you see it says there, this outline is stitched in Hungarian braid in colour 3. So if you aren't sure how to do a Hungarian braid, either go to the little stitch booklet or refer to the video that's in the how-to section on our YouTube channel and also in the how-to section on the website. When it comes to the base of the tree, again, if we refer to the instruction plan, we see that's all stitched in a satin stitch and we're using colour number 2. Now on the second tree, again, we're using a trellis work for the entire main section of the tree. We use these colours in order to do the trellis work. You have colours 7 and 9 are used for the lines of your trellis, and then you overstitch and secure those in place using a random assortment of colours 5, 3 and 4. So you randomly overstitch the different areas. Now again, I'll show you this on the finished piece so you get a feel for it. So you see the base stitches are done in colours 7 and 9, and then we overstitch everywhere it joins. We use trellis work also on the net for the fisherman, and that one's just in a simple 2 colourway. Now let me just talk you through this whipped stem stitch because that's another complicated area of the design. But as I said, we do have a video showing whipped stem stitch, so all you really need to be aware of is the colour. So for the whipped stem stitch of the body, the entire base of the figure is done in colour number 1. So to begin with, you're going to do a stem stitch in colour number 1 all the way up that waving line. Then once you finish your stem stitch, you're going to whip it using colours 3 and 4 in alternating lines. It's exactly the same approach as you're going to use around the edge of the water. And again, let's look at that picture to see in detail. You can see here on the figure how you've got the alternating lines of whipped stem, and then you've got the same thing going around the edge of the water. So you can see from this how you're going to use the stitch plan to find your colours and find what stitch goes where. You're then going to refer to your picture on the back of the stitch plan to show you how I've done it. And then if you're not sure how to do a stitch, you're going to go onto the YouTube channel and search for that stitch. So search for darning stitch, search for trellis work, search for whipped stem stitch, and there will be a video to show you how to do it. You need to use all the different videos if you haven't done it before, and if you have used the stitch before, you'll be quite confident in how to do it. This is a hard design, so it will take you quite a long time to do every single one. But bear in mind, you can always refer to these instructions, and along the way, one of the really satisfying things is that you will learn so many different stitches. The only stitch which isn't included in your booklet is trellis work, but don't worry, there is a separate video on this guide all about trellis work. There's a separate video on YouTube which shows you it in great detail. And do bear in mind again that throughout, as it says in the stitch instructions, throughout the entire design, you're going to be stitching it all using 3 strands of thread. The only section we recommend doing in more strands of thread is the tree. Darning work benefits from more strands, so I'd recommend doing the tree in 6 strands of thread. But when you're doing it, still separate those threads out. So even though you're using 6, still split the thread and work with 6 strands as you're doing the darning. It will just create a fuller area. Now, what I want to do now is show you the painted frame method. For all of you who bought the frame and framing kit, I'm going to just talk you through how you're going to paint it. So let me grab the paints. You've got your main base coat paint, which is in a large jar, and that is your dark blue. That is what you're going to use to base coat the entire frame. Then you've got your strong turquoise. That's what you're going to use for the slip. On both of these, we recommend painting them with 2 coats. Then you also have 2 smaller pinks and purples, which is what you're going to use for the outer border going around the outside. So first you base coat your frame and your slip, and you do them each in 2 coats of paint, enough paint until it feels thick enough. When it comes to painting the crosses on, these are randomly placed, but what I'm really going to recommend you do to paint your crosses is you tape around the border where you want to fit the crosses in. This will just enable you to be much neater with your painting. So now, imagine the crosses are not there. What I'm going to do is get some masking tape, some frog tape. I'm going to put the tape around the entire edge of the border once it's been base coated and once it's fully dry. And once I've got that area marked, then I will know where to put my crosses. And the reason to do this is it stops you having a risk that your crosses are going to kind of veer around and not stay in a nice straight line. This also helps you make your crosses the same sort of size. So by taping your area, you're going to just have a bit more control over how your crosses look. Now, when I've painted my crosses on, I have just done a random placement, to be honest. I've tried my best to make it even, but if you look at this now, you'll see that there's irregularity. However, if you want to be precise, now is the moment to measure up where each of your crosses goes. So get a ruler, go along and mark out what you want is an even number of crosses on every single side. So if you want to do that, get a ruler and put a pencil mark in the centre of each cross. Now you're going to paint your crosses in alternating lilacs and purples, and then once they're completely dry, put a dot of your turquoise in the middle of each one. Then once you finish, you'll remove your tape again and your frame will be done. It's a really simple design. It doesn't require too steady a hand because the crosses can be a little uneven, and that is part of the beauty of it. But once you finish, the whole thing really complements the finished design you're going to be working to. So that is how you paint your frame. That's your full night fishing design. And if you have any questions at all as you work through the kit, just get in touch, and do remember to take a look at some of the other videos on YouTube to give you confidence in how to do each stitch. We hope you enjoy it.